weights exercise. I just want you to watch me do each exercise before we proceed doing them. Before you proceed doing them in the house yourself. Okay, so just to be clear, it's just a demonstration. Once you see me do all the exercises, then we'll do them all. You do them all together in one circuit. Okay. So let's start with the first exercise. It's going to be a sit and stand. Okay. So sit and stand exercise. You're going to need a chair. Okay. So we're going to sit down in the chair, nice and comfortable. Okay, wherever you feel like it's natural for you to sit in. So initially you're going to hip walk towards the edge of the seat. Okay. So we're going to keep the shoulders back, chest out. As you're standing up, you're going to be pushing your knees out. Okay. Don't want your knees coming in. You're going to be pushing your knees out. So chest out, shoulders back. You're going to squeeze your glutes, tighten your abs, and one small motion. And squeeze your glutes and tighten your abs. You're going to stand straight up. Okay. I'm going to go with the first repetition. I'm going to stand straight up, pushing my hips through. Once I stood back up, I'm going to slowly sit back down. Okay, nice and controlled, and then back up again. So squeezing the glutes, tightening the abs, shoulders back, chest out. I'm going to stand up and slowly sit back down. Okay, nice and controlled. A couple of ways not to do it. I mentioned about the knees. Okay, so you notice the knees are pushing out. Okay, I don't want your knees pushing in like this. It's a lot of pressure on your hips and your back. And you also don't want to bend forward when you're standing up. A lot of people tend to do this. I don't want you doing that. Okay, you're going to muster all your strength, squeeze your glutes together, tighten your abs, and just stand straight up. Okay, you see there's a minimum amount of movement. Okay, and another common error, a lot of people tend to bring their feet up like this. Okay, so feet stay nice and solid on the ground. You want to give yourself a nice piece to work off. So that's a few of the common errors with this one. It helps. A couple of tips. You're standing up, you bring your hands up with you like this. Okay, and then back down again. So this one isn't about speed, okay? I just want you to focus on each repetition. This is an excellent exercise for just maintaining your independence, and it's really good for getting out of bed early in the morning and just improving your quality of life in general. So I put this exercise first for a reason. It's a really important one and one you need to practice because you'll constantly be doing it. Anytime you're on the sofa, anytime you're in a chair, you're in the bus, you're in the car, you're practicing your sit to stand. So it's really vital you need to focus on this one, okay? So that's the first exercise, and I will move on to the second. So guys, now we're going to move on to the second exercise. So this is called Adductor Squeeze. So this is really good for warming up the inside part of your legs. So we've done our squats, you're nicely warmed up in the lower body. So what you're going to do is you're going to come forward to the edge of the seat. Okay, shoulders back, chest out. You're going to have both hands on the outside part of your knee. And the idea here is your knees and your arms work against each other to create a little bit of tension in the inside part of your leg. So as I'm pushing my knees in to meet each other, my knees at the same time are pushing out. Okay, and that's when I feel a lot of tension building up in there. Okay, excuse me. So once you bring it in, you're going to slowly bring it back out again. And for some of you, like it's a wee bit harder to do, you're going to have to go a little bit deeper in. When you're a little bit stronger, a little more flexible, you can bring it all the way into the point where your knees are actually touching. Okay, and you'll feel the tension build up in your hips as well. I just always remember, I keep going on about it, but just always have that good posture. So shoulders back, chest out. Okay, grow before you go. Whatever term you've heard or you come across, it's just all about maintaining that nice presence of your body, and it just improves your quality of life in general and your posture. Okay, so that's the second exercise, and we'll move on to the third. Okay, so third exercise is going to be a little bit more involved in targeting the midsection. So you're going to grab any kind of weighted object. So here I just have a weighted ball. You don't necessarily have to have this. You can just have something in the house, like a large bag of rice or a large bag of pasta, something that has a wee bit of weight to it. Okay. So I'm going to sit down on the seat, again off the edge of the seat. I'm going to hold the weight in front of me. I'm going to look straight ahead. Hips stay in one spot. I'm going to rotate side to side, okay? Keep my shoulders back, and chest out. I'm going to grab it like so. Move it to the side, one side of the body, back to the middle, and then to the other side, okay? This is really good for your stomach muscles, really improves the rotation, makes you more mobile and more supple, okay? So as we're moving side to side, try not to have the weight too much out here, because this puts too much stress in your elbows. Try not to have it supported by your body weight. So you see my elbows are nicely tucked in, my hands are underneath the weight. So the weight is just there to make my core or my midsection move a little bit stronger, a little bit harder. So I'm moving side to side, like this. As you get warmed up, a little bit better at it, over the weeks, you can just go slightly wider out. Okay? It's almost like you're reaching, you're trying to place the weight to the side of you. Okay, once you come to the middle, and you've done a few repetitions, and again, this is just a demonstration, guys, okay? We'll move on to the next movement, which is more for the upper body, okay? So we're going to move into our fourth exercise. So this was our first exercise for the upper body. Okay, so I'm going to grab two weights. So these weights are about 1 kilo each, but you can just use cans of beans or use maybe a couple of bags of sugar, or just something that you have in the house, or a couple of bottles of water. Okay, so the exercise, this was going to target the front of your shoulder. So this is really good for raising your shoulder in front of you. If you have a wee bit of trouble there, again, if you had any kind of surgery there, or kind of an injury, just stop to the point where you feel like it's too uncomfortable, okay? So don't feel like you have to go too high up. So I'll just demonstrate a few repetitions for you. Okay, so I'm going to have a nice steady base. So whenever any of the standing movements, I want you to have your feet about shoulder width apart. Make sure they're not too narrow like this, or too wide, okay? Just about shoulder width apart. A slight bend in your knees. Weights in front of your thighs. I'm just going to slowly raise the weights in front of me. Pause it for a split second, and then slowly lower it back down again. Okay, it's in that phase of the repetition where you're bringing the weight down in a slow, controlled manner. You actually gain a lot of benefits. So for instance, a wrong way to do it is, if you bring it up like this, and then just as your arms collapse, you're not actually benefiting at all. So we really want to emphasize nice and slow and controlled on the way down, and a wee bit quicker on the way up. Hold it for a split second, and then back down again. Okay, and demonstrate it from the side. Again, you see a slight bend at the knees, and a nice even stance with my feet. I'm going to bring the weights in front of me, hold it for a split second, and then slowly lower it back down. Okay, so that's that movement. And then I'll move on to the next exercise. Okay, so we're now going to move into our lunge exercise. Okay, now, so even though we did it as part of our warm-up, it's really crucial, and you're nicely warmed up, and you should be able to get a wee bit deeper and get a little bit more benefit out of it. But a lot of the key points still stand, so we want to keep the shoulders back, the chest out, stand up nice and or have your upper body sit up nice and tall. And as you're lunging forward, you're going to keep the knee behind the toe, okay? And then you're going to go back up again. You can do something for a wee bit of support. And you keep the knee behind the toe on the other leg, and then back up again, okay? A couple of common errors is you don't want to wobble side to side. So if I want to try and get a wee bit lower down, it doesn't mean I try and go like this, okay? I'm going to keep everything nice and stable. So I'll just stop to the point where I feel more secure. So if this is the point where I feel like I'm getting the maximum benefit, I just stop here, okay? I don't go try and go a wee bit lower down and try to move my legs away. I just stand up in the same position and then just repeat the other side. But you'll notice my upper body's nice and tall. So if I want to get a wee bit more, I'm trying to push myself. I don't actually try and go like this. I bring the face to the floor. Okay, I actually keep my body nice and straight, looking nice and tall, straight ahead, and then back up again. Okay? So guys, the next exercise after a lunge is going to be a step up. So with a step up, we're obviously a wee bit restricted for each person in terms of what they're going to be using to step up and down. So ideally what I would like you to have is the bottom of your stairs, or something that has like a rail at the side of it for a wee bit of support. If you don't have that, you can use something like just a little solid option, like a box. Something has a nice sturdy base to it. Okay. So the idea here is to kind of get your feet moving, and this is a really good exercise in terms of its cardiovascular benefits. So it's really good to get your heart moving. Okay. So let's say you have the step or the ability to do a step up. So I'm just going to stand straight up and down. Okay. So I'm going to bring one foot up, stand straight up, back down, and then I'm going to switch legs. Okay, so up with the right, down with the right, try not to lean forward, okay? And I want to get some of the benefits. I want to try and keep my upper body nice and tall as well. So one thing people tend to do as well is they kind of try to put their hand on one foot and try and push up like this. I don't want you doing that, okay? So you want to stand straight up, okay? And remember to switch the legs, okay? Up and down, like so, okay? So that's that exercise, and then we're going to move into our next movement, which is for the upper body. Okay, so guys, so ladies and gentlemen, we'll move on to our next exercise, which is a wall push-up. So with this one, you're obviously going to need a plain wall where you're able to put your hands in the same position. And just make sure you obviously see myself, I'm limited my ability to do this exactly the way I want because I have an object here in front of me. But as much as you can, try and find a nice clean wall where you can put your arms in the same position. Okay, so with this exercise, I'll demonstrate the right way to do it. As usual, I'll show you ways to do it a wee bit harder and ways not to do it. Okay, so I'm going to have my hands in front of my shoulders. Okay, and I'm going to have my elbows tucked in. My elbows aren't out like this in this position. It puts too much pressure on my elbows and my shoulders. Okay, so the idea for this one is I'm trying to target all those pressing muscles. And so whenever you're pushing the trolley in the supermarket or you're pushing the door open, this is what this exercise will really help with. So, I have my arms in front of my shoulders. Okay, I got my body in a nice straight line. Okay, my hips are back like this. Okay, they're not forward like this. I'm going to stay on my toes and my feet. Okay, and shoulders are tucked in. I'm going to slowly lower myself down, keep my elbows just to the side of my body. They're not coming out like this. They're staying tucked in. I'm just going to bring my face as comfortably close to the wall as I can. Okay, so as I'm bringing it forward, I feel that tension building up. My shoulders, my tricep, my chest. And I'm slowly going to push back out again. Okay, so this is actually really good for the back of your shoulder as well. So this one, in a sense, is almost the version of the sit-to-stand. So for your upper body. So this is for the one where you gain the most benefits overall because it works so many different muscle groups. So really take your time and try and do this one right. A common error here, like I was saying to you, people tend to have their hips back like this. So they actually just bring their head toward the wall. So that's not actually doing anything, that's not benefiting me. So I want to try and keep my body nice and straight. So you can see my body's nice and straight. I'm off the toes of my feet. I'm lower myself to the wall and then back out again. Okay? So that's that exercise, and now we'll move on to the next one. Okay guys, so on to the next movement, another upper body movement. This one's for the side of your shoulder. So, excuse me, this is called a side lateral raise. So again, we're going to grab 2 weights. So use a can of beans, a couple of bottles of water, a couple of bags of sugar, just something that has a little bit of resistance to it. So I'm going to grab the 2 weights, and I'll just demonstrate from the side initially. So a nice even stance with my feet, okay? Weights to the side of my body. I'm going to have a nice grip, firm grip on the weights. I'm going to slowly lower them up to the side. Just to bring on my leg, my shoulders, and then back down again. Okay? Nice and slow and controlled manner. Like I was saying earlier with the front raise, I'm going to have it nice and controlled on the way down, and nice and smooth on the way up. Okay? This is going to make maximum benefit. This exercise is actually a really key one because it's really hard to isolate the side of your shoulder. So I want to improve any kind of mobility and strength in the shoulder region. This is a really key exercise. This one actually isolates this muscle the best. So make sure you include it and you do this one right. Okay, so again, chest out, shoulders back. I'm going to raise the weights up to the side of my body and then slowly roll it back down again. Okay, a simple enough exercise. Again, if the weights feel too light, okay, how heavy or how light it feels to you is relevant to the person that's doing it. Okay, so to make it a wee bit harder, just bring it up to the top, hold it for a split second, and then lower it back down. Okay, if you're finding it's too limited on your shoulder, it's too bothering you too much, just bring it up to the point where you feel you can raise it up safely. A couple of ways not to do it is as you're bringing it up, you try and bend your elbows. Okay. That puts a little bit too much stress on the neck area. We're trying to target the side of your shoulder. So we want to keep those elbows as locked out as possible as we're bringing it up to the side and then back down again. Okay? Another error people do is as they bring it up and they get tired, they start to use the front of their shoulder and they start to come up to the front. Okay? So one will be keep it coming out to the side. So as much as you comfortably feel like and you're feeling stronger, and if you want to keep as you keep going through this exercise, you're going to bring it straight out. Okay? So if you're trying to do more of it or you're trying to push yourself, don't feel like you have to start coming up front of you. Always want to go out to the side. Okay? So that's that exercise done. We're going to proceed into our next exercise. So this one's going to be a little bit more mobile in nature, or it's going to get you a little bit more on your feet and get you a bit more active. Okay? So this is really good for people like to enjoy having a wee bit of a walk or a wee bit of a jog. So we're going to stand on one section of the room, furthest point that you have, or whatever, if you're in the living room or just in the area where you have this area set up. And we're just going to walk in a brisk manner from one end to the other. Okay? So initially you're going to start with a wee bit of a brisk walk. So I'm going to walk like this. Okay, I'm going to stop and then go the other way. Okay, keeping my hands driving backwards and forwards. If you want to make it a wee bit harder, again we can go on a wee bit of a jog. Okay, you want to get your feet moving and back. Okay, a pretty simple enough movement. I don't think it needs too much explanation. Just make sure you've got a nice straight line. And obviously, if you're feeling a wee bit unwell or a wee bit dizzy and uncomfortable, you can just stop and take a few extra seconds rest. Okay, always emphasize you've got to listen to your own body. And at the same time, you have to push yourself, but you have to recognize if you're feeling a wee bit unwell as well. Okay, so that's that exercise done. So the last movement, this one is going to be cardiovascular or a little bit of an endurance test for your upper body. So it's just going to be some dumbbell and there's going to be some punches with the weights that you're holding. So ideally with this one, we're going to grab something that you can get a firm grip with. So if you got a couple of cans of beans, it's probably perfect, or a couple of light dumbbells. These dumbbells themselves are probably about 1 kilo. So I think for most of you, 1 to 2 kilos is probably enough, but again, that depends on the person. If you're a really strong person, then you can use something a little bit heavier. Okay, so with this movement, we're going to get into the boxing stance. So boxing stance, all I really mean is just to have your strong foot behind you and your weaker foot in front of you. So have a nice stable base. Okay, I'm going to have my hands up, kind of like you're protecting your face, just like boxers do. And you're going to have your hands in front of you. I'm just going to bring one arm in front of me. I'm going to bring the other one back, and then bring the other one in front of me as well. Okay? And then as you get a wee bit comfortable, you get a nice rhythm going, backwards and forwards. Okay? Now at first this one feels really easy, but as you're going through the actual exercise itself, for the 40 seconds, it'll actually be a wee bit harder. Okay? Again, I'm just demonstrating at the moment. So once you get your arms moving, if you start to get really, really tired or start to really bother your shoulder, just punch a wee bit lower. Okay? And if you're feeling really exhausted, just stop for a second, kind of shake it out a wee bit, arms back up again, and then just continue on. Okay? Once you've done your 40 seconds, just put the weights down, and that'll be a demonstration of each exercise. And we'll just follow now